I'll get to the work session then. First one was 146 South Maple, which was a window install.
No comments?
I didn't have any comments except just a few suggestions that could be options. For that sunroom window, it might be nice to have an operable window, in which case they could consider maybe French casement with or without grills, or perhaps, double hungs, pair of double hungs to match the other windows. But that was just a suggestion, not a requirement.
Okay.
How you doing?
How are you?
Fine.
We just did the
Ken,
window,
once, would
the
you,
first
The first one?
the
Okay.
can you
windows.
check your mic, Ken, to make sure it's,
Hello?
Yeah, I didn't have any comments on that one. And Angela,
No, I don't have any.
Ken on the first one, 146.
Yeah. Right. No, I was, that's Maple.
Yeah.
I was good to go.
Okay. All right. Next one on the list. There was a resubmittal at 450 West Lockwood, and Mara did send a highlighted copy of what had changed. I think.
Yeah.
So are there any comments on 450 West Lockwood?
Yes, I have a couple of comments. The drawings that we were sent don't match the construction, even the revised ones don't match the construction. So they need to add trim to the windows, muntins, just the stuff that we usually require. Trim around the gables would be nice as well. And then the gable return
Mhm.
at the eave, those should all match. There's like 4 different ways they did it. So if they could change all those, that would be good. This is right behind my house. So it does not look like this.
I also had some follow-up questions. We, of course, had to ask quite a few questions about what had changed because it wasn't clear at all on the submittal.
right,
The original submittal did not have photographs accompanying it. We subsequently received photographs that did not match the drawings that we had received. And then after Mara reached out to us, one of the things that I requested was a set of photographs that clearly show the entire project as it's been constructed so far, so we could verify any resubmittals, which we did eventually get a set of plans. However, there are aspects of the project that we can't see in the photographs because there were no additional photographs. And after we've had this many discrepancies, I would just like to ask a few questions to verify what is indeed there and what the intent is.
I went by there just to look at it. I know the client because I worked with them prior. I've been involved in this thing. When this kind of thing happens, I go back to our original premise as to what is we're supposed to be doing as an ARV. And everything I saw about what's being presented here, and then having gone by to look at it, if they had presented what they drew and they built or if they had, if the drawings replicated what they built, I'm not really seeing anything objectionable to what's there. It's different, I'll grant you that.
Well, I can say I wouldn't have approved it the way it's built.
You can
And
state what-
as a general rule, we do require to have trim around. I mean, I don't know where you went, but you can't see it from Lockwood.
I went up the driveway and went in the backyard.
Uh-huh. And did you go around the other side and look at that?
I went into the backyard. I looked basically at the front of the garage because I thought the main concern about the front of the garage would be the dorm.
Mhm.
Um,
And which is one thing, I
I
mean,
guess
to
what
to
I'm
me,
saying
the
is-
roof is out of proportion for the garage without the dormers on it. It's too tall. You know, it's this very tall garage and the gable doesn't actually match the gable of the other structure, which is a bit awkward for other people in the neighborhood, you know, to see that. So that's unfortunate. I think it's overall unfortunate how it looks. But
I
it
I
is
can
what it
just
is to
say,
some point.
my visual experience of having been there is the roof didn't jump out at me as being oversized or anything, so.
Mhm.
And I guess we have to figure out, or at least I have to figure out for myself, is there anything here that is detrimental? And that's not just a matter of taste. It kind of goes beyond that. I think that detrimental to any neighboring persons or properties.
Oh, it's
and
detrimental
I-
to my property, actually.
Is it?
Yes,
Okay.
we have a wall of vinyl siding facing us, which is, you know, that's one thing, but, and then the other side has no detail either. So the detail that's here in the drawing is not there.
Okay, well, on the detail
So-
issue, again,
You know,
I
they
just
could
look at it
add
from
some of that,
cursory
if they
eye.
added some of that detail to the building, that would help out. I
Okay,
think
and I
so.
think the brackets on the front are on order, I guess. That was,
No, the brackets are not there. The door isn't that tall. And the trim on the front is not that large.
Angela, you had mentioned the eve treatment is different on different area, like there's multiple things going on, and I would not have picked up on that given the information that we have to look at today. So I think Carol, your suggestion is probably a good idea so that we get the full picture of what's happening there.
Yes, and complete set of accurate photographs so we can verify what's on the drawings, because there have been so many repeated discrepancies on the drawings.
Yeah. Did Mara, as a follow-up, she sent us some photos, didn't she?
Yes, but
I
you
did, I
can't,
don't have them printed out, so.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
have, I didn't see that.
But you
wasn't aware of-
couldn't see everything in the
Yeah.
photos, quite honestly. You could not see the whole building. You know, they went up and I think, you know, they took photos to be unintrusive of the house and took some photos and left. So you can't see the whole structure.
Right.
You can see the back of the structure and the side from Rock Hill Road. So it's not like it's, because it's up that high. So it's not something that's seen from Lockwood. It's more the other side.
All I can say is, and I'd be willing to go back and look at it with consideration of your commentary. I didn't walk up the driveway and get the reaction that this is a massive looming roof from the
Mhm.
garage door side.
Well,
So-
so sure.
Yeah.
But as a general, so I mean, we usually say that require trim and so forth on the
No,
windows.
if there's issues to do with some window trim and the like, I'm not gonna fight that. It's just, based on my cursory review, I'm not finding any reason to say no to what got built. And again, I'm open to your commentary and as well. I'm not suggesting I'm not, but that's why I just thought this was going to be kind of a sensitive issue. So I wanted to go by and just walk in person and get the experience of what it's like. And nothing bowled me over as being grotesquely out of control. So that's just my honest reaction to it.
When I looked at the submittal, I didn't know what I would vote on because it wasn't clear what had changed.
Hmm.
And I'm still not sure.
Yeah.
So when, my request would be that, for this board to be able to, for me to be able to vote on it, I would want to see what was approved on a set of plans versus what changed with the cloud. That's a typical approach that an architect would do. And, the pictures would be great. So that's how I feel about it. I don't feel like I'm prepared to, vote on this one tonight myself.
I agree. For me, the gaps of information that we have been experienced here, it needs to be filled in, and it needs to be filled in definitively with photographs, a thorough set of photographs of what has been built, because there's so many discrepancies in these drawings that have been repeated and repeated. So I think photographs for verification of the drawings are appropriate.
If I'm hearing we're moving in the direction of just delaying this thing, and I'm good with that, would it be, I guess I'm asking staff, or would it be appropriate if the owner was okay, if we wanted to physically just walk the yard and look at it, you know? In addition to photos, I think that's a pretty educational way to go at it. I'm not compelling anybody to do it, but it is, and I agree with the chairman here. It's hard to figure each and every little item that did or didn't get done or got done differently. It's confusing, but I still go back to the premise that if somebody presents something and they don't build it that way, and there's an issue of enough concern that staff's going to bring it back to us, I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. But ultimately, I think now, and I think when an owner does that, they kind of open the door to, you know, some exposure. I'm not saying they don't. But I think we, or at least me, has to come back and say, I'm starting from ground zero. I'm going to go look at what got built and put that against the structure of what the ordinance is to come up with a conclusion, you know, not ruining the fact they didn't do the dormer on the garage or that kind of thing. And, you know, we're all different people. We're going to have different reactions to things. You've expressed your view about the garage roof. I did not look at it with deference to the viewpoint I think you're coming from, and willing to give that all kinds of consideration. But this might be one of these deals where a walk through and just a firsthand experience might be, I think it would be probably fair to the applicant, and I think it'd be educational for, you know, me or you, all of us. So as far as the delay thing goes, I wouldn't fight that, I don't think. I'm not sure. Can we delay?
It's your purview. I mean,
Okay, all right.
you
If we
know,
got
it's-
if you got the
if
option to do
you
that,
vote-
maybe that's the most
You
appropriate thing to do.
discuss and you vote on what you see or don't see and what you feel like you need to see.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, I would say typically in a case like this, because it's missing information, I mean, we've had this discussion in our work sessions before on projects. It's not the first time we've had a project that is either new or resubmitted, where we talk in the work session, and some of us don't feel like we can make a decision because the proper information wasn't presented. And where I appreciate the idea of coming on site, I think the requirement of the submittals being clear is a pretty straightforward ask.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. I mean, people can go look at that if they choose. That's everybody's priority, but prerogative. But just drawings that represent what's actually there, so we can respond like we always do.
right.
would be-
And also so the city can have a clear record
Yeah.
of what was approved. And
Yes.
I think that's very important going forward as well. And it just is so much simpler if we are given an accurate, complete, clear submittal from the beginning.
Mhm.
None of this would have transpired. So, But unfortunately, however these set of circumstances came about, they did come about. It could have been much easier to just have a clear, accurate, forthright submittal, but in this case, we haven't gotten that. So I think either photographs or a walkthrough, whichever works for people's schedules, and,
Okay.
coordinating with the owner and or the contractor about us coming by. I'm fine with that, but I'm not prepared to vote on this tonight with
That's-
what we see.
I'm
One other
Good with
thing
that.
I'd like
Mhm.
to add is that, they presented the drawings too. I mean, in the way we were often helping the homeowners here in the sense of, did they give these drawings to a contractor and they expected this? They paid for
Right.
this. They didn't pay for necessarily what they got. And so, that's always a question too. And it's an aid to them if they can tell a contractor, hey, you're supposed to build what's on these drawings and you didn't. So, there is that aspect to things as well of someone paid for this. This was a nice set of, in
Mm.
particular, the first set of drawings had a lot of detail, lots of
Mhm.
very nice features. But that's
Mhm.
what they paid for.
Well, and I'm not privy to
I have no
conversations
idea,
went on
but-
between the owner and that either, but,
Mhm. But you understand what I'm saying, you don't want someone to look
Right.
at it like the contractor just said, I don't care about any of that stuff.
Hmm.
You get what you get because contractors do
and
that.
I think you would afford the contract and the owner to explain the circumstance related to that. And again, it's just, I guess I'm coming at this from a little different direction, and
You don't think contractors take advantage of homeowners or I'm sorry.
I would think we would an opportunity in this circumstance to have both the owner and the contractor make commentary that would clarify whether this was an agreeable change made or they've got duped or whatever, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Right, we don't know. That's
And
correct.
that's, again, probably another reason to take a
Have the
break in
right
the action
drawings.
here and get more familiar with what is the actual finished product
Right.
and,
That's right.
and act on that.
And I also agree, Ken, with what you said. It would be helpful to have a context of how all of this came about.
Sure.
And so that would be useful information in determining what actions to take, what
Mhm.
was agreed upon, and why the changes, why they didn't come for approval when the changes were obviously
Mhm.
so clearly divergent from what was approved in the first place.
Well, and the premise that there's, in doing a design, there's a multiplicity of correct approaches and a multiplicity of things you probably don't want to do or shouldn't do. So, yeah, we need to satisfy everybody here, we need much more discussion about how this thing came to be. But ultimately, what got built, I guess, is there to be had. It's a full-scale model. So I'm not saying the drawings as a comparison to what they said they were going to do versus what they did do is one thing, but what they did do is ultimately what we're going to be ruling on, I guess, so. And again, I would say, when a homeowner or their contractor or both move in a direction that's contrary to what they submitted, they are opening themselves up for a re-review and re-commentary from us. That's fair and that's reasonable. I don't have any problem with that.
Okay. So we did have one more added to our list. Everyone should have a copy of 459 Fairview. This was a front porch edition that was meant to be in the submittal that we received, but if anyone didn't get a chance or didn't see it, Mara emailed us today, so copies of the design are in front of you. As well as, I think this is the same thing that was emailed, I believe.
I'm just curious, how did this come in so late, or had it been submitted prior? or-
She explained that in the email.
Okay.
She said it got kind of lost in the shuffle or something.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
But overall, it was a pretty effective design. so I didn't really have any negative comments whatsoever.
No comments.
No, I think it looks fine. It's a beautiful house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is.
It is pretty. Yeah, I had no comments on that.
yeah, I thought the design looked fine. Every time I see a main stairway that's exterior, I always suggest if it can be achieved, to have a little less steeper stairs is always a little bit better on an exterior stair because it's a less dangerous. So I always see that 7.775 max, and I just make a comment that if it could be less, I think it would be better. But aside from that, I'm good with it. So I think we can, that's just a suggestion that I would put on the comment. I wouldn't make it a part of the, but I would be good to pre-approve this one.
Mhm.
All right. All right, and then we got a few minutes left.
Ken, can I ask you a question about your project?
Yeah,
You had a note that said that the shutters are going to be removed.
yeah, and the
What
reason
was-
for that is you got the juxtaposition. Should I even be talking about this? I'm trying to
Well,
get
I
in
think we
trouble, so-
already pre-approved it.
It's already pre-approved.
I was
Okay.
just curious.
Yeah, you got
I
the
never-
offsets of the windows and those shutters exemplified that. And then once I put the the roof structure of the porch on, I'm trying to sneak those windows back underneath and not make a big loud. And the fact that the windows are now,
All right, we're close. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, welcome to everyone that's been online. We're completing the work session. The official Architectural Review Board meeting is now, will begin. Introduce Kelly Campbell and Will Penny with the city to my far right. And we have Emerson Smith online as well, city councilman. Board members, Carol Dunkey, Tracy Collins, Ken Burns, Angela Thompson, and myself, Bob Buckman, were all volunteer architects on the board. First item of business will be review of meeting minutes from December 2nd, which have been provided for everyone here. And with that, I'll ask, is there a motion on the meeting minutes?
Make a motion to approve the December 2nd meeting minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye, opposed? Okay, the December 2nd meeting minutes are approved as written. Next, we have 3 pre-approvals. So the motions are on the handouts in front of us as I ask. I know the first one, 686 Oakwood, Ken has to recuse himself, but I think he can stay in here because it's pre-approved. With that, I'll say, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 686 Oakwood with the clarification that the owner has changed from a slab on grade to a wood deck.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, 686 Oakwood is approved. Next, we have 801 Selma. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve 801 Selma with the understanding that the concrete foundation will match the existing foundation. Trim will be added to the top and base of the columns, and the stair treads will be increased to 11 inches.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 801 Selma is approved. Next, we have 616 Loxley. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 616 Loxley as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? And then 459 Fairview. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 459 Fairview Avenue as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? 459 Fairview is approved. Next, we have 146 South Maple. Is there anyone online or in the room? Come on up and introduce yourself. Good evening, welcome. For 146 South Maple, I don't think the board has any comments.
Carol had a.
Oh.
Carol had a, yes,
Suggestion.
suggestion.
Yeah, just, it's just a suggestion. I mean, it's fine as submitted, but when, you know, the sunroom, the back of the sunroom there, it might be nice to have operable windows in a sunroom. So if they wanted to go to like a French casement, either with or without grills, or if they wanted to do like a paired set of double hungs that match the others, you know, that would look great and it would give them some ventilation. But, you know, they may have considered that, but it was worth mentioning.
My design team will discuss that with the homeowners and see if they might be interested in making that change. I think it's a worthwhile recommendation.
Oh, okay, thank you. Perhaps we could include it in our motion this evening as an option. That way, if they decided to do that, they would not need to come back to the board.
That would be great.
Okay.
Great. Before I ask, is there anyone else here that wants to speak on 146 South Maple, or anyone online? If there is someone online, please raise your hand. Hearing no one or seeing no one. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 146 South Maple as submitted, with the understanding that the owner may, at their choice, convert the window on the back of the sunroom to French casement, either with or without grills that match the other window, or a pair of double hungs that match the existing windows.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Oh, sorry. Opposed? All right, 146, you're approved. You're good to go. You're welcome. All right, last, we have 450 West Lockwood. If there's anyone here, please come on forward. Good evening.
Be the owner or? Okay.
So I'm happy to clarify any of the changes that were made. Talk through that if you want to do that. I apologize, pictures weren't complete. Ken did stop by and look at it. Like Ken said, when he stopped by, he said everything looked like it was.
Right.
We want to make sure everyone's happy, so please.
We're not trying to
We
like.
are longtime residents. I'm not going anywhere. Lived here my whole life. We're in real estate, so we see lots of houses and I understand when things don't look. And I will, maybe if I could take extra pictures, I thought I took what you needed. I apologize. If I could take a little video also, so you could maybe see. That would help. The gable of the roof, which I understand it does look larger. That's what the
The gable of the
architect
roof
said.
is the
That's
same
what
as
I
the
want.
original drawing. The gable didn't change, dormer came off, which is the only change. So for you, Angela, in the back, you would have looked at the exact same thing. So that didn't.
But we
change.
will do trim, whatever.
You want window trim?
We
do
don't want
window
you to
trim.
be
Well,
upset.
We don't want you to be upset. We want to be good neighbors too. I thought we were making improvement. I know we had to cut a tree down, which you probably didn't like, but you know, we're just trying to improve the problem. We have a young family, you know, we want the kids to not be get hit by cars in Lockwood. We did it in the driveway, in the backyard. You know, we're just trying to property and have a nice place to live. We're not trying to hurt you or do anything like that. And I think the fact that you feel like this is such a monstrosity, the only way you can see any of the changes is if you crane your neck, and look around the side of the house or the window.
Oh, no, you can see it from our house very well. Your garage is closer to my house than it is to yours.
But that was originally planned.
I understand that, but you should consider then the fact that what I see is considerably different than what, you're going to see on the other side. So that's what you do. And that's why we do those things here in Webster. That's why we look at the whole house and the whole building, is because we want the whole thing to look nice together and what everybody sees, because we're very close together. So we just want it to look good. And quite honestly, we're just looking at, I mentioned the roof. It is too big, but it is what it is. And it was on the original drawings. I understand, especially from the beginning, but it has a lot more to do with a lot of the details that are missing from what the original drawings were. So there's just a few details that I think that if we got some drawings and so forth that showed what's there, we could go over it like we do every other house and building that comes through here and tell you what needs to be added. Trim, we require everybody to have trim on their buildings, and you don't have any on the garage. The windows, you don't have the muntins like you're supposed to.
So that's easy.
Right. So I'm not talking about lots of changes here. So to have the gables all have the same ends, things like that are things that make a,
That's a lot of carpentry, a lot of reworking on something that no one's gonna see. I mean,
no one, excuse me? So, okay, it's fine, but we would normally ask that they all match, okay? That's just what we do for all the houses, and that's what we would do if you came through before. So, it's just a few things. And you can present the drawings
I
again.
want to make sure that this isn't a neighbor thing and then it's an architectural review thing, because
It's what we do for everybody. We have,
you seem a little bit more passionate about.
of course I am.
knock us into a different category.
Of course I am.
Ken looked at it and said, it looks great. You're saying it looks
Oh,
good,
just-
which.
Just for the
It's,
record, I didn't. say it looked
Peter, I
great.
understand exactly. I understand what you built. It's fine. I'm not saying you need to rebuild it or anything like that. I completely, what I said earlier about when someone hands the contractor a set of drawings, I don't know your contractor, I don't know your relationship or anything like that, but you handed them a very nice set of drawings with a lot of details where everything was coordinated. So if you didn't get that, you should have gotten that.
I appreciate that. That is
So-
something that I did not consider. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. With COVID, we had everything we tried to get, you couldn't get. The supply, it's been
Everything was.
the harder thing to build that I could possibly imagine.
We probably went $100,000 over budget. We had to make the changes because we couldn't get the things we wanted to get that were on the drawing. So instead of bogging the project down and spending more money and having our kids, not having a driveway and being involved and get hit by cars, like we wanted to get this going in the name of safety as well as our families. So
But
I mean,
again,
it's not like this was just like, oh, let's slap bang it and put up a monstrosity. I mean, we did spend $300,000. So I mean, once again, we're trying to, we're not trying to do.
but I
anything.
agree. You guys are here for lunch. I would love to make it so you feel like you're not staring at something that's, again, we would like to make it neighborly 100%. And I'm sorry, I thought that Jim, he did come by and make changes. So I thought the ones you had were to scale. They were sent tomorrow, I think on Monday or Tuesday, with those pictures. So I apologize. He came over and redrew. So I'm sorry that they didn't
I
get
think the
here.
only thing we must not have done was the garage, because I think all the details on the covered patio should.
Oh, he
be
didn't, he maybe didn't draw.
the eaves. So Angela's right. I mean, that
These
return
are
is not
different?
correct.
Okay, so the patio structure, he maybe redrew, he even took out, there was a part of on the deck railing that had an extra detail that again, we couldn't get from COVID unless we wanted to put wood and we were trying to keep with the keeping of a metal look. So, but you're right, now that I look at those, he maybe didn't go into the garage to fix it, so we'll have to fix it and then I'll take
Or,
pictures
I
of
mean,
everything and then a
we
video.
have extra shingles, so I mean, I guess we could could add those in. We're bleeding money. I mean, people are like, we're running out. I don't think you guys want to bankrupt residents. I know it's not a business, but like, we put up more than we can chew, and I have to read you all this stuff, like, this is a big deal.
But if you show you pictures and then it looks, we'll work with Webster, obviously, like you said,
Right.
You wouldn't have any problem if anybody on the
Yeah,
RV
come
wanted
look,
to come
walk around,
walk the property.
have a soda,
I'll
have
make
a
it
green light.
I just think once something's built, the drawings almost become superfluous if what you're asking for is, can you approve what we built? So we can just go look at it. So,
But to your point, you want the city to have their accurate,
Absolutely.
so I will
Yes.
definitely talk to Jim tomorrow to make sure.
I think you guys serve a very,
We are in
Good
real
and
estate,
accurate
so we
function.
see some terrible things in Webster, so don't get me wrong, so I understand it. So I don't think that we're not
appreciate.
wanting to make
We
sure
are
it's done
appreciative. We want it to
correctly.
be done correctly. It's just unfortunately, I think we we didn't understand what could be changed, it couldn't be changed, and it would be an issue for the board and for Webster. Like that. So,
Right.
Unfortunately, we've never done a project like this. We've always done interior projects on the exterior. Obviously there is some review board oversight. So once again, I appreciate that. We wanted to.
So then we'll just go to next month. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so I think just to be clear for our board, because we typically vote on a set of drawings. And if a city inspector or someone sees it and it doesn't match, sometimes they bring it back to us. So if our board is to make a decision, at the very least, we need the set of drawings that we saw marked up with the revisions that were made. The photographs are excellent as well. So I think a combination of those would be what we request for any project that made changes and came back to our board. I know it's nice to be able to, the invitation to the site, and especially the pizza is nice, but no, but in all seriousness, that's something we could do, but we still need the documentation. So I appreciate the offer. But we would need this for sure. Otherwise, we're voting on, what we remembered seeing or what we took pictures of with our own phones. So, that would be, I think, in our pre-discussion, I think quite a few of us thought that was what we would need to even vote. And I think others didn't disagree that would be a proper step. So that would be, I think, this board's request. And I think, just getting it back to the city next week would ensure that we could review it on January 6th, which is our next.
We'll get good news.
Okay, great. And I think just as a general term, the things like trim around the windows and all of that, if that's on the drawings and it's not anymore, I think those are the, the things where the board might say, we understand a lot of things have happened in the COVID period. And we understand costs as well. But this board is, we're reviewing what we see, and we have to be able to make some sort of judgment on that alone. Okay, so,
We'll get to that tomorrow.
okay, great. You're welcome. Have a good night. I don't think there's anything further on the agenda, so we are dismissed, adjourned.
Your comments regarding the garage.
Thank you.
Absence of windows in the rear or just the trim?
Well, it is what it is from the original one. So it didn't have windows ever on the rear, which